What does losing feel like to you?
It's exciting because it means you have different ways to get better. There's certain things that you can figure out that you can take advantage of, right? Certain weaknesses that were exposed that you need to shore up, right? So it was exciting. I mean, it sucks to lose, but at the same time, there are answers there. I mean, the answers are there when you win too. You just have to look at them, right? So it's a constant process. It's exciting when you win, it's exciting when you lose, because the process should be exactly the same, whether you win or you lose. As you go back and you look and you find things that you could have done better, find things that you've done well that worked, figure out how did they work, why did they work, how can you make them work again? And but the hardest thing is to face that stuff. That's a really, really tough challenge. There's a quote from one of my English teachers. He had a great quote that said, "Rest at the end, not in the middle." And that's something I always live by. I'm not gonna rest, I'm gonna keep on pushing now. There are a lot of answers that I don't have, even questions that I don't have, but I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna keep going, and I'll figure these things out as we go, right? And you just continue to build that way. So I try to live by that all the time.
Who was the greatest teacher for you in those early days?
It's funny, man, I had a lot of them. You know, my parents were great. You know, growing up, they instilled in me the importance of imagination, of curiosity, and understanding that, okay, if you want to accomplish something, I'm not just going to sit here and say, yes, you can do whatever you want. Yes, you can, but you have to also put in the work to get there. Right? So they taught me that at a really early age, man. And when you grow up as a kid thinking that the world is your oyster, all things are possible if you put in the work to do it, you grow up having that fundamental belief.
Yeah.
Right. My mom was there on a daily basis. My father was really influential at a really critical time where I had a summer where I played basketball when I was like 10 or 11 years old, and a very prominent summer league in Philadelphia called the Sunny Hill League. Where my father played, my uncle played, and they were like all-time greats. And here I come playing, and I don't score 1 point the entire summer, not one. I mean, and I had these big knee pads on because I was growing really fast. And I have socks all the way up here, and I had like the pod top fades, like skinny as hell. And I scored not a free throw, nothing, not a lucky shot, not a breakaway layup, 0 points. And I remember crying about it and being upset about it. And my father just gave me a hug and said, "Listen, whether you score 0 or score 60, I'm gonna love you no matter what." Now that is the most important thing that you can say to a child. Because from there, I was like, okay, that gives me all the confidence in the world to fail. I have the security there. But to hell with that, I'm scoring 60. And from there, I just went to work. I stayed with it and I kept practicing. I think that's when the idea of understanding a long-term view became important, because I wasn't gonna catch these kids in a week. I wasn't gonna catch them in a year, right? So that's when I sat down and said, okay, this is gonna take some thought. What do I want to work on first? All right, shooting. All right, let's knock this out. Let's focus on this. Half a year, 6 months, do nothing but shoot. All right, after that, all right, creating your own shot. And you focus. So I started creating a menu of things. When I came back the next summer, I was a little bit better. I got my jump shot from 15. I got my 3-point shot, like just open shots, not miss open shots, right? Be able to shoot it with speed, because those kids are so much more athletic.
Yeah.
And then the next summer I came back, I was a little better. And the summer came back,
you scored.
Next summer I was a little better. I scored.
Yeah,
it wasn't much, but I scored.
And this is 12, 13.
12, 13. And then 14 came around, back half of 13, 14 years old, and then I was just killing everyone. And it happened in 2 years. And I wasn't expecting it to happen in 2 years, but it did, because what I had to do was work on the basics and the fundamentals. But they relied on their athleticism and their natural ability. And because I stick to the fundamentals, it just caught up to them. And then my body, my knees stopped hurting. I grew into my frame. I was good. I was good. And then about the end of my right when I was turning 14, I became the best player in the state.
At 14.
At 14. But it's simple. Like if you do the math on this, right? Like if you're thinking about how often kids are playing, right? And I tell this to my daughter and my daughter's team as well that I coach. So it's a simple thing of math. If you want to be a great player, if you play every single day, 2-3 hours, every single day, over the course of a year, how much better are you getting? Most kids will play maybe an hour and a half, 2 days a week. Not gonna get it done, right? So if you're obsessively training 2-3 hours every single day over a year, over 2 years,
you're accelerating.
You make quantum leaps, man. Your kids can't see how hard you work. You go to the office, I come into the studio, they don't really see the effort, right? So how can we teach our children what it means to work hard? Well, you do it through training, right? So when I get up in the morning, my daughter goes with me.
4 a.m.?
4 a.m. My 15-year-old goes with me. She goes with me before school, and it becomes a daddy-daughter thing.
That's cool.
Through that process, she understands the value of hard work and things taking time. And the same thing with my 12-year-old, right? She practices every day, right? And so it's through those behaviors is where I find the motivation to do it. Katie Lou Samuelson is one of the best college basketball players in the country. She plays at UConn. She's going to be a senior.
Right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
And she's from Huntington Beach, out here by us. And so she comes down and she works with some of my girls on the team, and she helps coach. And they just had a really tough season last year where they lost to Notre Dame in the final. And so I asked her, I said, have you watched the Notre Dame game? And she was like, no. I said, well, why not? I said, I don't want to watch that. I said, I know you don't, but you're going to play Notre Dame this year, yeah? Yeah. What's the chances you see them again in the final? I said, well, you probably see them again. I said, well, you can't show up and play them without knowing why you lost that one, right? So, you know, the mistakes that you've made in that game, you have to do the hard stuff and watch that game and study that game to not make those mistakes over and over again just because you weren't brave enough to face it. So she came down to the office. I brought her down to the office and we sat down, we watched that game together, right? And you gotta deal with
Face
it.
it.
Gotta deal with it. Face it, learn from it. That's exactly right. You're looking at it and say, oh, there's the mismatch. Oh, there's the gap, you know, and all those little things, and it sucks. But you don't want to have that feeling again, do you? Right? So you got to really study it, face it, and not to say you'll win the next time you face it, but at least you'll give yourself a better chance.
Yeah. And what was your routine and ritual like after every game? Would you watch almost every game over, or certain games?
All of them.
Every game you watch?
Every game. So it started with me when I was when Phil Jackson's his first year here with the Lakers. And I thought we were gonna watch what we call touches. So watch all your touches when you have the ball, all the decisions you make, good ones and bad. No, we're watching the start of the game to the end of the game. And not like the TV feed. We're watching the in-arena feed. The layup line, timeouts.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Rewinding, stopping, fast forward, rewinding, slow motion, every little thing, every game of that season with the 82-year-old Yoda, who is as brutally honest as you can get. It taught me to look at detail. Right, look at things at their smallest, right? Look at body language, look at the energy between players, our team and the other team, right? Look at the tactics. Look at the overall strategy and then look at how tactically things are manifesting themselves. And because I watched so much film, then it gave me the ability to see game in real time as if I was watching film, where I can see pop, 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 because a lot of times the game starts moving really fast. But if you train yourself to watch hours and hours of film, the game's not moving that fast anymore. You can really recognize who's doing what and why. Then you can position guys in the right places in real time. I mean, it's an obsessiveness that comes along with it. You want things to be as perfect as they can be, understanding that nothing is ever perfect, but the challenge is try to get them as perfect as they can be. And what can you do? It's in your control, so control what you can. It started in middle school and high school because a lot of the kids that I was playing against were inner city kids. And so they're looking at me as if, okay, this kid's soft, right? He's from the suburbs of Philadelphia. His father played in the NBA, played professionally.
He's got it easy.
Born on second, you know, all this other stuff, right? And so they felt like they could try to be physical or try to intimidate me and do all this other stuff, which they couldn't, right? But now I'm saying, okay, well, you're trying to attack me. How am I going to attack you? How can I mentally figure out ways to break you down? How can I show you that, no, I have the edge, right? And so that's when it first started for me, is figuring out how to get the upper hand on an opponent that way. And one of the things I would do is while everybody would be at the cafeteria work, you know, eating and doing all sort of stuff, I just go back to the gym. And they'd see me leave, right? But now you're in a tough position because you're like, okay, I want to be like, I'm following the kid to go work out, but I know he's working, he's up early and he's doing all this other stuff. And so that was my way of showing them, yeah, I may be from the suburbs, but you're not going to outwork me. I mean, it started as a defense mechanism because, you know, they were the ones talking trash to me, and, you know, kid from Italy, blah, 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 and all sorts of stuff. And it was like, okay, I can't let them, you know, I got to defend myself here, right? And then it became, okay. I think the definition of greatness is to inspire the people next to you. I think that's what greatness is or should be. It's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire a person to then in turn inspire another person that then inspires another person. And that's how you create something that I think lasts forever. And I think that's our challenge as people, is to figure out how our story can impact others and motivate them in a way to create their own greatness.